What's up, dudes? As I said on the last video, the maiden voyage of the 12-foot Landau after being built did not go without any hiccups. And, you know, that's kind of how boats are anyways. I haven't yet to build a boat that I took it out the first time and everything went perfect. So I figured why not do a little video on fixing some of this stuff in case you guys run into it, maybe give you an idea how to do a couple things too if you're having the same issues. The first issue I ran into was actually getting the boat to the lake. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I was being lazy. This boat doesn't have like a positive stop on the front of it. The trailer doesn't. It just has a little winch that's on a pole, and it has a roller that's right up under the boat towards the front. And I kind of figured this was going to be an issue, and lo and behold, it was. I wasn't very surprised when I pulled up to the boat ramp, and actually one of my ratchet straps on the back of the boat had come off because the boat had shifted so much traveling. On the way home, I stopped 4 different times to tighten everything up. So what I'd like to do is weld me some kind of bar from the winch post and maybe put like a piece of 2x4 wrapped in carpet in the front, just to give that bow something that you can, when you winch the boat up to, it's going to actually stop and won't move around anymore when you're going down the road. Another thing is that roller up under the boat towards the front. It's just, I've never seen one like it before. It's like a bracket that comes up. It's got a bolt in it that can swivel, and it's got another like elbow that can swivel. So you can kind of move the whole thing around and position it where you want it. Well, it moved on me. So what I think I'm going to do is get it back into position, tighten it up, and then while I have the welder out for this little stop pole, I'm going to go ahead and put a few tacks around it to keep it from moving anymore, and also to make somebody really mad if they ever try to put a different boat on this trailer. Another issue I ran into was my little cooler setup. All I had was like a little bungee that you get from Walmart that's supposed to hold your rods down. While I was on the water, when I got into the seat of the boat, the front seat, I stepped on the cooler and I could tell it was kind of wobbly. So that kind of let me know, this isn't the safest setup in the world. And then on the way home, I hit a bump and my cooler bunny hopped over my little bungee strap and ended up upside down on the floor of the boat. Luckily, it didn't bunny hop its way all the way to the highway. So I got to figure out something to do about that. I think I'm just going to get some aluminum and build me a strap to go across it. Try to make it look decent. I also ordered an anchor pole for this thing, like one of them 8-foot anchor poles that you can get. I had one on the blue boat. Really liked it. Didn't really like how I had it set up though in the boat. So I'm going to try to do something a little different with my setup of, your anchor pole holder. Is that what you call it? Whatever that your anchor pole goes through when you actually anchor it to the ground. And the elephant in the room is right here behind me. My major problem I had with this boat was the motor when I took it out. A lot of you guys might have wondered why I didn't do a speed test at the last outing, after I got the boat complete. And I said it'd be interesting to see how much it slowed the boat down, adding all the weight to it. Well, I put the boat in and took off from the boat ramp. Everything was fine. It actually felt just as fast as it did before, so I'm assuming it probably slowed down some. But I went down maybe half a mile, throttled it down, and then was going to get the GPS out so I could record it. And then when I throttled the boat back up, it was so bogged down. I don't know what the deal was. And honestly, I hate to say it, it feels like it dropped the cylinder maybe. It would not go over 4 miles an hour. I was hoping maybe like a spark plug wire had come off, but I checked it real quick. All those look fine. So we're going to have to assess that. Worst case scenario, we did lose a cylinder somehow. I don't see why that would be the case because, I haven't been hard on this motor. It ran fine the day that I took it out a while back. It ran fine here. I don't know. Well, we'll have to dig in it and see. I'm probably going to leave it for last because it's kind of stressing me out. I'd like to knock some of these little things out first. I feel like we got some wins under our belt before we dive into this motor. All right, enough talking. Let's get to working. I just want to show you guys what I was talking about with this paint. As you can see, looks good. And that's just my finger. I did realize that you can take like a damp cloth, and it looks like it pretty much comes off. But you can see here and there, like right here, that's a scratch. That, that's not going to come completely out. Of course, like I said, these rub rails are scratched pretty good all the way down from loading the boat in the guide post. But just want to show that. I was going to put it in the last video, but like I said, it was running long and didn't want to. So there you go. Still not that big of a fan. This marks like that will come right out, I guess, but it still does scratch very easy. All right, this is what I was talking about on this front part, how there's nothing for this boat to actually stop on. So, you could essentially winch this all the way up. so you don't really know exactly where to stop, whatever. This is actually an old deer stand part, like a ladder stand that you use to wedge against your tree. But some square tubing I got laying around. Just going to use this. I'm going to need to square it up, but doing something kind of like this, whatever angle that is going to be fine. And then eyeball where I want it right here and cut this off, just weld it on. Should be fairly straightforward, fairly simple, I hope. Usually it's little projects like that bite you in the butt. So like I said, I'm going to make me a mark right here and grind me a spot to weld. I'm going to weld it up, wrap this in carpet, figure out some way to attach this to this, and we should be good. Sure, looks good from my house. See, I concocted this, just cut me 2 little pieces of angle aluminum, and I put some nylon washers in there so it, you know, give a little bit of wobble. And we'll just put it up in here where it needs to go, and then tack her in. All right, put us a little rattle can touch up on here. I think we're gonna be done. Seems to be very stout. Not like it's got to hold up the entire world. You just want something for that bow to touch on. Kind of dropped it down a little bit lower, so I still be able to get my hooks under here if I ever need it. So I think it's gonna work. Every tool I own out to do one little project. Even my fillet knife is on top of my welder. All right, now what? I guess this cooler thing. All right, this cooler, I put this little rod holder strap on. I mean, I could tighten it up if I wanted to, but I don't have much purchase left. And plus, I really don't, I mean, it's just not a great fix. So what I think I'm gonna do is I got this piece of flat, 1/8 inch flat, and it's almost the perfect size. Just get me a measurement and put me some 90-degree bends on each end to make me like a big C channel. That way I can kind of recess it in here and rivet it in. Put it like right below this lip of the cooler. And I think that'll help out a lot. At least I'm hoping so. All right, go ahead and knock that out real quick. Guess who thought they was recording, but was not. Anyhow, that's what I did. Bent it on both ends, test fitted it, put me a rivet on each side, test fitted again, rivet on each side, and then I think it's gonna work. Pretty tight, but that's going to help us out in the long run, I do believe. All right, take this out, put a coat of paint on that, let it dry, put another coat of paint on that, and this will be done. All right, so if I'm going to be using this boat, I want to use some kind of anchoring system. I really don't like the traditional anchors for these small boats. I'm really spoiled with the power pole on my big boat. But if you recall on the blue boat, I got one of these super sticks. It's upside down. Learn to read upside down. Got it off of Amazon. I want to say they've actually gotten more expensive since the last time I bought it. I want to say it was like $80 something. So I'll put the real price up here. It comes with 2 clips to hold it down, and it comes with like a rope. I mean, on the blue boat, I just put like some of them conduit straps, and it don't really look too good. So I wanted to try something a little bit different. I was at Lowe's the other day and I found these couplings right here. These are 3/4 inch. And as you see, they fit pretty good on this stick. What I was thinking about doing is somehow trying to fix this on the rub rail of the boat up here kind of close to my seat so I can shove it down in there. It should be able to hold it pretty good, I hope. Now these things are already threaded to tighten down on whatever. What I plan on doing is taking these screws out, a bigger screw in there, and then drilling all the way through my rub rail and putting like a nylon lock washer on the other side to hold it in place. I might be able to swing it up and down. Instead of being like this on a rub rail, I can slide it up where it don't look so bad. I don't know. That'll probably require some kind of nylon washer. I'll have to see what I got and go from there. But I think this might work, but we'll see. All right, so the only screw that I have that fits this actual thread size is this one right here. I ground the head down a little bit, and I took one of these couplings and drilled me a larger hole so I can fit the bolt head through there. Went ahead and put it up there, and I drilled a 5/32 hole, which is a little bit smaller than this. And then since it's aluminum soft, I was able to twist this through, and it kind of threaded it. So that's probably going to work out in our favor. Give us a little bit of extra hold strength. So all we got left to do is throw this thing on there, test fit it, and see what we got. Alright, I did have to take me a little file and file my bolt head down a little bit because it was kind of a big bolt head, but now it's fitting in there pretty good. I think it's going to work alright. Now I have to mount this anchor pole, which is going to pose a whole different problem. Alright, to mount this thing, if I push it all the way back, the T-handle back there, and put me a clip there, put the other clip there, still going to be in our hatch here. But if you remember, move this out of the way, I doubled up the brace right here. So what I'm thinking, which is always a dangerous thing, put this right here and maybe cut just like a little rectangle out of our lid and then glue it right back on. It'll gain us access of our lid, and we'll still have plenty of purchase for our hatch to land on our brace right here, I hope. We'll see. Hopefully I ain't about to mess something up. Alright, hit it with a little touch-up paint. Got the pole mounted in. Everything's fitting pretty good. Now, is this the prettiest thing in the world? No, obviously not. If you're wondering why in the world I did it, price these anchor pole holders that they sell. They're like almost twice the price of the poles themselves. I'm sure I could have went to a welder and got something built a little bit nicer, or something maybe came from like right here. But I think this is going to work, and it cost me like $3. Like I said, is it the prettiest thing in the world? No. But is it going to work? I don't know. We got to take the boat out and find out. Which one of y'all did not remind me to adjust this thing while I had my welder out? Yeah, I thought so. Crap. Done put it back in its little cubby hole. Get that back out next. Adjust that where it needs to go. Like I said, I'm probably just going to put a little tack on each side. Just something to keep it there. But if somebody buys the boat or wants to put a different boat on the trailer at some time, it won't be that big of a deal to, you know, undo my rigging on it. Alright, got that pretty much squared away. I actually end up loosening that one so the whole thing will be a little bit lower. So that should work. Like I said, I just got a couple tacks on each side to hold everything together. And I went ahead and put a coat of paint on that. I think the only thing we really got left is that. Put it off for last because if I don't get it fixed, I'll be in a bad mood. So if I started on it first and couldn't get it fixed, I'd be in a bad mood all day. So it'll ruin your whole day, just ruin, you know, most of it. All right, pick up all my tools, hook up to my truck, pull it out, see what we can do. All right, dudes, I think we actually caught a lucky break for once. I went to tilt this motor up and I heard something roll around on the inside of the cowl. I opened it up and I saw this laying in there. This is a little thing that hooks to your throttle or extension from your throttle, and it kind of like advances your timing, I do believe. That's why that'll make one run really sluggish, like you only have one cylinder. So fingers crossed. Surely that's got to be what the problem was. It looks like this thing right here is supposed to have a little clip on it. Actually, I see an O-ring down here. That might be it. I bet just me jostling this thing around the past few weeks probably just got knocked off, or when I was taping around this motor when I was painting it, I might have knocked it off or something. So I might have to go back and watch some videos and make sure that I have this thing on there right. It looks like it only goes on one way. I've already put it on there to make sure this is what's wrong. But it looks like we're going to be in business. So we'll go ahead and throw this on there, and then we'll get her cranked up and see what she does. That's that little piece I was talking about right there. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but it does have a little O-ring. I picked that O-ring out of it, and it fit right on it. So I'm assuming that's what happened. Might need to look into getting me another O-ring to keep on the boat, just in case this one breaks on me. But anyhow, got us some water in here. Rebel is going to worry me to death. We're going to see if we can get this thing started. That's what it was. I just want to put it in gear and make sure it revved all the way up, because the other day it was just bogging down. Once I saw that part laying in there, I was like 99.9% sure that's what her problem was. So put it in gear, kicked all my water out. That's why I went ahead and cut it off. I didn't want this thing to overheat because the water got too low. But that's very cool. I mean, I was definitely afraid of what the problem might be. All I want to do is take this thing out. All right, made it to the boat ramp. Front strap is still tight. Check these rear straps. It's a little looser, but a whole lot better than it was last time. I might have not tightened it up enough. All right, that's an improvement. Now we're just gonna put in. Water is super high. This is about 6 foot higher than it was last time I put in. I'm gonna run it up and down and see how she does. Hopefully, give me no problems. All right, dudes, it went a little bit better than the first trip out after getting this thing completed. Everything we did to the trailer worked out great. Didn't move any by the time we got there. When I got home, everything was still in the right spot. So those few things really helped us out. Loading and unloading the boat was a little bit easier after we got that roller in position where it's supposed to be. And the little stop helped too with loading it up. As you saw, the motor did better. It actually did better than when it was just a bare John boat. The only thing I can say why is just adding the weight. And we didn't add a ton of weight, but I guess what little weight is just keeping the boat a little bit more down in the front, and you take off, instead of it raising up in the front, it's staying level to where, you know, it's helping it get on plane faster. I will also say that we had a pretty strong tailwind yesterday, so maybe that was something. I don't think that helped out a great deal. The day I took it out, you know, it was just a John boat. It was pretty calm that day. Or I don't know, maybe the motor just kind of turned around a little bit, needed to be run a little bit. I don't know, it's waking up, if you will. I'm not sure, but I thought it was going to lose at least a mile per hour or two, and we ended up kind of gaining a mile per hour. You know, the first time I took it out, it was a steady 13 miles an hour. and yesterday it was a steady 14. I actually touched 15 once, so happy with that. I did test out the little anchor pole and it held fine. Very windy day, so that worked out great. Kind of thought about adding another one to the other side so you have the option of each side. Maybe you're fishing on a slope and it's just easier to put it on one side or the other. I don't know. It's ugly, but you know, anything else out there isn't the best looking thing either. And like I said, it's only $3.50, so ugly is going to have to work with that. One thing I would like to change on this boat, if I keep it long enough, is the trolling motor. I know it's a Motor Guide R3, probably their cheapest trolling motor that they sell. I think it was like 120 bucks at Bass Pro Shops. The problem I'm having with it, the main problem, is it's a 30-inch shaft. I should have went with a 36. I put a 30 on the little blue boat, but I guess the blue boat was so short when you sat up front, it just kind of dipped down. So a 30-inch shaft worked fine. This boat does not do that. So in order for the trolling motor head to be, you know, far down enough, you kind of got to lean down to, you know, work the handle, and that kind of sucks. It's usable, but like I said, it'd be better if it was up higher. So keep my eyes out for a 36-inch shaft trolling motor. If I can find one Rebel, if I can find one used, and if not, they're like 150 bucks at Bass Pro Shops, I think. Also, not very impressed with the trolling motor mount. You know, the one that's actually on the trolling motor, when it's in the lock position, it has a lot of slop to it. And like I said, I already don't like my ugly rigging mount up front, which it has some flex to it too. So everything combined together, it's just kind of got a sloppy feel to it. I'm not very happy with. So this is the first new Motor Guide I think I've owned. I've been just getting Minn Kotas, so not a good look Motor Guide in my opinion. Go back to Minn Kota. But everything else on the boat seems to be fine. It's a very usable small boat. I mean, I think a 1236 is a perfect size for one person, for small ponds or lakes or creeks. I think you could very easily put two people in here and fish somewhat comfortably out of it. You know, it's pretty stable, and you have a lot of room to, you know, kind of put some gear and move around the boat a bit. 10-foot boats with two people gets a little sketchy. That extra 2 feet means a lot, in my opinion. I went ahead and threw it on Marketplace the other day, and I've already got a couple people very interested in it. One guy said he's coming tomorrow. He's saying he's going to buy it. I don't know. Talk is cheap. Kind of wish he wouldn't. I was really wanting to take this boat out and enjoy it a little bit. I'm so used to the last several boats I've done, it seems like it took over a month to sell them. So I was thinking the same thing was going to happen. Also, it is that time of the year. Everybody's, you know, wanting to get out there and do some fishing. So maybe that's the case. You know, it'll help fund the next build, which I will say I've got my eyes on several different boats. They're totally different too. I have a few different ideas. I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to pull the trigger on. I'd like to do something different, but I also know what the money maker is with this channel. So I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe we can squeeze a few more in before the season's up. But that's going to wrap it up for this little boat. I don't imagine you guys will see anything else on. There's not really much more to do. I've kind of stuck a fork in it, I guess. Like I said, dude might come by it tomorrow, and it'll be literally done with. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next one. What about you, Rebel? You gonna see me on the next one? You tell them bye? Say bye. Care about some daggum balls.